Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, we're reviewing the Ford Bronco Raptor. Before we get in this video, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to the young Ford here in Ogden for giving me some time with this Bronco Raptor. I'll include a link to their website in the description down below. If you stop by or if you call in, just make sure to mention that Ben Hardy sent you. Let's get into it. Powering this is a turbo 3-liter V6 that goes through a 10-speed. Fuel economy is 15 around town, 16 on the highway. Power output's 418 horsepower and then 442 pound-feet of torque. Before we move forward with this review, I do want to mention if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. So taking a look at the hood, you guys can see this one's finished in azure gray. They are getting rid of some of the colors for 25 and they're switching them up with some new ones. I'll try to get a video of some of the new colors later on. But anyways, cool venting there. And then down below, you've got orange around the lights. You've got the orange marker lights as well. Gray with the Ford logo. And then look at the fog lights there. Those ones have a cover because they're tied to the auxiliary switch and they're brighter than what is allowed legally on the street. You got the bash plate up front. You do have skid plate protection underneath in general. And just a cool looking front end. Now we've got 37s wrapped on 17-inch wheels with the Bronco Raptor. And with the newer ones, you've got the painted fender flares. So it looks a little bit more uniform. You can see the venting there, painted as well. And then you've got the mirrors that are attached to the body. So that if you take off the doors, you still have mirrors. The hard top is not painted from the factory. That's not an option. Maybe it will be in the future like what they have with Wranglers. You got the rock rail side step combo, and then you can see we've got the live valve Fox shocks. I wonder if they'll do a dual valve in the future. Looks like they're not changing anything for the Bronco Raptor quite yet, but there's your side profile. This leads us to the key fob. We have the Raptor logo, if it'll show. Not really want to show too much, but we've got lock and unlock, remote start as well. And then this leads us to the rear of the Bronco Raptor. You got the swing gates very light because of the hydraulic function, and then the window opens up just like a Wrangler. Tons of storage space here in the back. As you can see, you've got the cage up here, extra reinforcement with the Bronco Raptor because it needs more rigidity because Raptor, right? Anyways, with the window system, you just close one and then the other in that order. Love the taillights with the Bronco Raptor. They're cool looking. You got more markers up above the spare tire. And then solid rear axle, for those of you that are wondering. And there's the rear. Now popping inside, soft touch right here and up above as well. I think the seats in the Bronco Raptor are pretty cool. Nice trim all over. Getting in, they do give you a grab handle, but you still have to step up a bit. So just kind of understand that. Legroom back here is good. Got a little net. We've got our window controls in the center there. The camera's not going to be able to focus because of the lighting. And then headroom's pretty good because of the box design. You do have insulation which helps out with sound. This leads us up front, where again we've got the soft touch here up above, blind spot warning with the mirrors. Payload is 1,023 pounds. Raptor there on the front seat. Cool trim all down the center. All of your power adjustments on the side. Light controls there. You got the grab handle here as well. So taking a look at the steering wheel, marker there at the top. You got stitching here in the center. Paddle shifters there on the back for the 10-speed. You got adaptive cruise control with this. Notice with the steering adjustment, that's your custom mode. Adjust the suspension, adjust the exhaust. And the exhaust on this thing is not really all that good. Yeah, it doesn't sound quite as crazy as like the, we'll just leave it in normal mode, F-150 with the EcoBoost. Raptor logo there as well, and then we got a little stock on the back. Now with the gauge cluster, the cool thing is the drive modes. So you got a bunch of different modes here for both on-road and off-road use. Gives you a little animation there. You can see it'll pop up here. And then this does have, again, you guys can see the full digital, just like the F-150 Raptor. Regular Bronco has partially analog, partially digital, so just better information display. 360 camera system with the Bronco Raptor, pretty good resolution with the camera as well. And then you've got the bigger infotainment system, Android Auto, Apple CarPlay. You've got the shortcut bar there at the bottom. And it's very nicely integrated into the dash. And then speaking of the dash, stabilizer bar disconnect, front and rear lockers, trail turn assist, stability control. All of those are buttons at the top. Now down below we've got our controls for the radio, dual zone climate controls, heated seats, heated steering wheel. Got our phone charging pad there. Shifter for the 10-speed. Then we have our GOAT mode select. And then your drive line, this does have a 2-speed transfer case as well as 4-wheel auto and your off-road cruise control. Window controls here in the center. Got your mirror adjustment there. Raptor. Cool. Good storage in there as well. You've got all of your auxiliary switches up top if you want to add extra items, and then again the hard top that's easy to take off, just like a Wrangler with the front portion. Anyways, sticker price is $95,000 on this one. Dealers are actually discounting the Bronco Raptors nowadays. Would you believe that? Let's take it out. Bronco Raptor. Interesting vehicle. I had one for a little bit. It's one of those situations where I waited so long to get one, and then I finally got it, and well, I'll tell you guys the benefits and the downsides of the Bronco Raptor. First off, for what this is, a solid rear axle, body on frame, convertible SUV, it is actually pretty darn daily drivable. You do get more noise than you're going to get in a lot of other vehicles, but you know, overall wind noise, I mean, especially compared to a Wrangler, it's actually pretty livable. So Ford did do a good job with making the Bronco, I would say, more daily drivable than the Wrangler. But in doing so, they kind of sacrificed some of the fun nature of the vehicle because it's like so comfortable, so daily drivable. But then it's not as comfortable and daily drivable as like just a regular car that, like a 4Runner, for example, that is completely sealed off. So it's kind of like in this weird, it's almost like in limbo in a way. And that was one thing that I kind of found, is I was like, man, it doesn't have character like the Wrangler, but then it's not comfortable or quiet like a, you know, other body on frame SUVs. Again, I have a Toyota Land Cruiser now. The reason why I bought a Land Cruiser is I'm like, man, I still have lots of off-road capability, not as much as a Bronco Raptor, but still have a lot, but way more daily drivable. It's like, if I'm not going to have character, I want it to have lots of daily drivability. It's not to say this has no character, it's just, it's not like the Wrangler. If you drive one of these back-to-back with the Wrangler, and you'll understand what I'm talking about. The Wrangler feels super unique. Transmission, this is fantastic. The biggest letdown, I think, with the Bronco Raptor is the engine. I'll talk about my take on what Ford should do engine-wise. I'm just telling Ford what to do in this video. And the reason being is the Bronco Raptor just stopped selling, right? Like, people just aren't really interested in buying these anymore. I mean, the used ones that are heavily depreciated are selling, but the new ones, not really. Now, some other stuff, seats are comfortable. Like, when you do compare this directly with the Wrangler, it is a much better vehicle in a lot of ways. Like, the suspension's comfortable, the seats are comfortable, there's more sound deadening, and off-road, outside of like extreme rock crawling, it does just as good as the Wrangler. Sorry, my GoPro's falling off my head. Okay, there we go. But yeah, it does just as well as the Wrangler in a lot of situations. It is wide. That's one downside, is it is wide. So here's my take on the Bronco Raptor. Here's what I think Ford should do. As someone who owned one and then sold it, engine, that's the first big thing. So there's too many Raptors now. You have a Ranger Raptor, you have an F-150 Raptor, and you have a Bronco Raptor. F-150 Raptor and Ranger Raptor, I think, are perfect. The Ranger Raptor has this engine, which in that platform, and this is actually the same platform as the Ranger Raptor, believe it or not, but in that sizing with this platform rather, and 33-inch tall tires, it's super fast, it feels super sporty, amazing truck. So the 3.0 V6 makes perfect sense. Now in the F-150, the EcoBoost, again, makes sense. If someone wants a Raptor and they want something that gets still decent fuel economy for a big full-size pickup truck, then the F-150 Raptor provides that. And then you got the Raptor R. It's like, you want a crazy high-performance V8 Raptor, you've got it. So the F-150 Raptor, perfect. Bronco Raptor, or not Bronco Raptor, Ranger Raptor, perfect. Bronco Raptor, it should have the 5.0 V8. Hear me out on this. 5.0 V8 has 400 horsepower, 410 pound-feet of torque. So it wouldn't really change the acceleration dynamics too much. Yeah, at higher elevation like this, it's going to feel a little bit more lackluster. So they could even increase the power outputs. They could, you know, the 5.0 V8 in the Mustang produces 500 horsepower. So they could do that with the Bronco Raptor. 500 horsepower, 450 horsepower, somewhere around that. Good torque too. That would work out just fine, okay? And then the next thing is the pricing. This should not be a $100,000 vehicle. When the Bronco Raptor first came out, it started at like 70-ish. That makes perfect sense. If with the suspension this has, the ground clearance this has, all the kit this has, if you had that in a 5.0 V8 with 450 to 500 horsepower, $70,000, you know, 65, 70 starting, and then a fully loaded one with all the fancy bells and whistles is like 75 to 80. Perfect. That would make so much sense. They would sell so many of them, and it would feel unique in the Raptor lineup, right? It would, because right now this doesn't, I mean, it's got its own thing going, but it also, I don't know, it doesn't feel as unique as it could. And I just think that Ford not putting the 5.0 V8 in the Bronco in general is just a huge miss. Huge missed opportunity by Ford. I think that they would sell so many more Broncos if they offered the 5.0 V8 in it. So let me know your thoughts.